Hey everyone, it's Commander Morning on Wednesday. I'm Nick Baldwin. I have my co-host Jesse Newquist.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi. I was telling Jesse that whenever I introduce her, she always goes, "Hi." I'm just gonna get a shirt with Jesse's name, face that says "Hi."
Hi. Yeah, I speech bubble it. I had a really funny thought in the pre-show.
The pre-show.
Pre-show.
Which show is that? The one where you and I were on the phone, or the one where we were talking to Ro before?
While you were messing everything up technologically? Yes. Yeah. When we were on the phone, we were talking about coffee and we said, bye. All right, I got to make another cup of coffee. See you in a minute. Bye. And we were talking about how we were kind of tired. Wouldn't it be funny if like we just started the show, or wouldn't it be awful if one day we just started the show like, hi.
Yeah. We'll do that. Be like, "Hey, everybody, how's it going?" But that's because you were telling me about your son who just is completely lazy, but then on the baseball field, he's like a beast.
Yeah, he's a beast. Yeah. He is.
Well, I'm glad you brought up coffee because I was reading this interesting stat about coffee, and I love that it kind of makes me feel a little bit better this morning. So whenever you go to the doctor and they go, "So how many cups of coffee do you drink?" You feel like, you need to just like,
you write in a book.
Yeah. No, like it's like, "So how much alcohol are you drinking?"
Yeah.
How much coffee? I don't know what the right answer is. Right.
Right.
But this new study from the New York Times just came out saying that studies show that people who drink 3 to 5 cups of coffee a day were 15% likely to die early from all causes, and moderate coffee drinkers showed a 50% reduction in suicide. I mean, that's interesting. But I'm super excited now because next time I go to the doctor for a physical, I'm just going to tell them that I read this stat. Don't judge me. It's going to make me live longer. I'm on my second cup and I've only been up. Yeah, today I woke up at 7:45 because my kids and my wife are not here. They're up north at the lake. So I slept till 7:45. And that's one of the reasons why I was a little disheveled this morning when I was trying to get all of my devices to work for this
Just
show.
a little. By the way, doctors love it when you bring articles from various publications about what they went to school for like 12 years for. And you tell them, they love that.
I have a degree in Google degree.
Yeah, exactly. So can I tell you about my latest initiative?
Yeah. You're going to tell me anyway.
I'm gonna, you know about it already, but I'm officially reading leadership and business books so Nick Baldwin doesn't have to. That's how I support you and me.
By the way, that should be the title of your book.
Yeah.
I'm reading leadership books so Nick Baldwin doesn't have to. Here's my takeaways.
Yes, these are my greatest lessons. Yes.
A memoir.
This was a podcast, and it was the Angela Duckworth, the author of Grit. She was talking about how she was interviewing like one of the fathers of cognitive behavioral therapy. So this is about mental health. And she said, "I'm really impatient. So could you just like sum up like what therapy is in like a sentence?" And he was like, "A sentence? Like, can I get semicolons? Really? It's really kind of complicated." And but he did it anyhow. And he summed it up by saying most of therapy and actually most of the work of mental health is observing. So noticing. Step 2, sitting with it for a minute, like actually learning how to feel feelings, right? And then step 3, zooming out. Like, is this going to matter in 5 minutes, 5 weeks, 5 months? Like perspective. I had like a little self-coaching, a self-therapy session when I heard that, because that's such a practical model to like just calm the hell down, figure it out.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
The only thing I have to say about that is when you are like, let's say you have depression or something, or like a depression, not being depressed. You don't know. You can't, if someone says to you, "Well, is this going to last a minute or an hour or a year or a month?" Like,
yeah, they were not talking about like things a doctor would need to diagnose you for.
So this is just
Mhm.
This is just if you could control the way that you're feeling, like, okay, something bad happened and you're able to evaluate it. I got it.
Yeah, like around the subject of cognitive behavioral therapy, like he was basically getting himself out of a job. Like he said, you could do 95% of this on your own. You really don't need me.
That would be another thing not to say to a psychologist.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
exactly.
no, that's great. I think, what podcast was that?
Okay, this was I listened to Brene Brown's Dare to Lead podcast religiously. Like I listened to each one several times, and so it was her and Angela Duckworth. Awesome.
Can you talk about the other thing that you said? Because you said you said you read leadership books, so Nick Baldwin doesn't have to. And I'm all on this anti-guru trip where, I don't read leadership books because I think that everybody thinks that they know better, and they're all telling you what you need to do in order to be successful. And if you don't do these things, you're going to fail and you're going to be a miserable person. You were telling me yesterday about the interview she had with the former CEO of Campbell's Soup. And he said something really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull up the quote because I have it right here. He said, okay, this is Doug Conant. Is that how you pronounce his name?
I believe so. Yes.
Former CEO of Campbell Soup. The great lessons we learn through our entire lives are our leadership value. Everything you'll find in a leadership book is someone else's. That was like mind-blowing to me. That's like mind-blowing to me.
Yes.
What else did you say around that?
So he got laid off. He was a very successful C-level guy, family, living in Boston, living the dream, and got laid off. His position got eliminated at this previous company. He was 32, and they had an exit, essentially psychologist, that made him sit down for 2 weeks and write down all of the lessons that he's learned in his life, all of the detail that he can remember. And he wrote 100 pages. And what he learned along the way is that this is his leadership value. This is his experience, the good, the bad, the ugly. And that is the value that he brings to the table. And so at some point, whether you're reading leadership and business books and trying to follow all or some of them, or not at all, at some point you're going to have to start walking inside your own story at some point. And it's an amalgamation of a lot of things, but you got to make your own.
I love that because he was totally speaking my language.
Yes, he was. See, and you don't read leadership and business books right now, as you should not. And so I'm doing that for you.
Well, thank you so much for looking out for me. It's not that I'm not going to ever read them ever again. I'm just on a fiction trip right now. And when we bring on our guest, I was looking at what books that he's reading. And one of them is not fiction, but it's written in a fiction way. I like a lot of books that are, this is, I read this American Kingpin. And this is about the kid that created that website Silk Road, where he became a billionaire selling drugs on the dark net for like 2 years, and the FBI couldn't find him. So this is a nonfiction, but it's written like it's fiction. So that's it's like a story.
Yeah,
and so
I love it.
One of the books on the list that our guest wrote down is a similar type of book, and I've actually read it, so I'm excited for that. There was something I wanted to mention. So you know how I create my own T-shirts? Like my wife is just yes. I created this one. Success is boring. Yeah. And this is because this is one of the things that Gary Keller said that I've always loved. Success is boring. And I made it like it's kind of like a collegiate, type of shirt. You can get this shirt, Success is Boring, at commandyourswag.com. And I'm going to send Gary one. I emailed him a picture of it. And he was like, oh my gosh. He goes, that is the best. And then he said to me, okay, I have to tell you what he said because it's hilarious in this email. He said, I also like, quote, the grass is always greener in the yard that uses bullshit. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm putting that on a shirt. He's like, no, don't do it. But anyway, yes, this is boring. And a lot of people don't know what this means. And by the way, I got a free Venti shaken espresso at Starbucks yesterday because I wore this into Starbucks and the barista thought it was awesome and she gave me a free drink. So
I'm going to interrupt you for a second.
Free drinks at Starbucks.
I'm going to interrupt you. I think the venti Starbucks that you had yesterday afternoon has not yet worn off.
Nope, it has not.
I'm happy for you.
Success is boring means on the road to success, the things that you have to do to become successful are extremely repetitive and monotonous. Being consistent, and those things can be boring, right? Like, let's say you are trying to build a real estate business. Maybe you're going to door knock or you're going to make cold calls or whatever it is. Anything that you have to do to get to where you want to go can be very repetitive. And and so therefore that can get boring. So that's what success is boring means. I think it's pretty sweet.
I love it. I bet that would cause a lot of questions. That's a great shirt.
Thank you so much.
I may purchase one.
My shaken espresso has not worn off.
And I love it. But really, the t-shirt, I want to enter the t-shirt design competition. I will be submitting my ideas and my designs.
Well, the New York Times said that if you drink 5 cups of coffee a day, you'll live 76% longer.
I thought it said you were going to die 15% faster of everything. Like, that's the way I heard it.
It didn't say that. Well, we're going to bring on didn't say that at all. We're going to bring on our guests in just a moment. Oh, what's going on? Malik. Oh my goodness. The CEO of Conversion Monster himself. Do you know what I had to do to get this guy on the show today?
Are we allowed to say? Hi, Ro. Thank you for being here.
Hey, Nick. How you guys doing?
What's up? Ro.
What's up? Good to see you guys.
Who's that guy behind you, Ro? There's a weird looking orange character.
You see me trying to block off the cords in the background with my body?
Nobody
did. Snaggy. Snaggletooth.
Snaggy.
It's Snaggy. That's our new mascot for Conversion Monster. We decided that we're like too serious of a company. Like we're like always in this professional serious mode. So we wanted to be a little bit more lighthearted and lighten things up a little bit, try to have a little fun.
Who said that? Who said you were boring?
Not boring. Serious, I think was the word I used.
Nick. My bad. So you two know each other pretty well.
I don't know. Okay, we like to rip on each other a little bit here and there. It's a little friendly banter.
So if you could, so I'll help keep us on track here. I'm going to pretend I know nothing about you. Will you give us the 90-second? Who are you? Tell me about you, your company, and where you came from. I know. I just won't say that. I won't say elevator pitch. I'm not going to say that. Yeah. I just want to hear from you, Ro. Tell us about you, your company. Who are you?
Who am I? So, hey, everybody. I'm Ro Malik. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Conversion Monster, which is a company of inside sales agents that are working with real estate agents all over the country. And I also run a real estate team for Keller Williams based out of the Chicago Lincoln Park office. And just recently, we also launched an expansion team in Buffalo, New York, which is where Conversion Monster is headquartered.
Awesome.
And so I've been in the business for around 15 years. I've done everything. I started on the mortgage side of the business. I've owned a brokerage. I've worked for a couple of different brands. And here we are in 2021. And Conversion Monster is at the point, we've been in business for about 6 years now. And we've got around 110 employees. And so I'm back and forth between Chicago and New York quite a bit.
Wow.
So Conversion Monster, I just want to mention that about a year and a half ago, Lab Code Agents and KW did a conference in Las Vegas called FutureCon, and it was a pitch fest. Think like Shark Tank and American Idol and America's Got Talent, but for technology. And the grand prize winner will have a full integration with KW Command, and Conversion Monster beat out. And by the way, the winners were voted on by KW agents in real time. Conversion Monster beat out 80 other companies to win the grand prize. And now we are days away, Ro? I never want to give a specific time frame, but we are days, months, or years away from the.
We're so close.
I told them, Nick Baldwin, that I'm going on this show tomorrow morning that we had planned and we're going live, and we got to get this thing flipped on, because I said the expectation is when I go on Command Your Morning that we are live in the marketplace, and Nick is gonna raise hell.
They said, "Oh, you're going on Command Your Morning. Oh, we gotta get this. We gotta get started."
Nick Baldwin's, we're good. That's it. We're pressing buttons. This thing's going live.
I just want to say that Conversion Monster, and this isn't a pitch for Conversion Monster. I just want to talk about what it is for a minute, and how it changed my personal business. Because agents say that internet leads suck, and they really don't suck. It's just that agents suck with follow-up, and I don't really blame agents for sucking at follow-up, because if someone's investing money in internet lead generation, they could get hundreds of leads a month, and it's hard to follow up with those leads consistently and quickly, right? It's not just a matter of following up fast; it's a matter of following up on a consistent basis, and Conversion Monster helps you do that because they have the technology to do that. They're also human beings that are stateside, based in Buffalo, New York. And in 2019, my teams, I had two teams. My teams did around 35 million in 20. I'm out of the production right now, so that's why I say 2019. And just like 40% of that was due to the fact that Conversion Monster was helping us follow up. Wow. And now I've been beta testing the integration with Conversion Monster just over the last week, generating leads through Facebook with Command. And just in the last week, Conversion Monster has qualified over $1 million in business.
Okay.
Buyer business through Facebook ads. And guess what? My spend has so far to get those two leads that are ready to buy within 6 months. My spend's only been $50.
But internet leads suck, right? Wow, that's huge. That's huge. There was a NAR stat. I think it was a 2018 NAR stat, but I can't imagine it's changed that much. They summarized, was it 2018? It was 19. That 48% of leads generated on the internet that were sent to real estate agents in the United States, 48% never received a phone call, a text, or an email.
50%.
Yeah,
but
we don't have a lead gen problem. We have a lead follow-up problem.
That stat is actually from some of it's from NAR, but then also some of it is from Follow Up Boss, which is I think the second largest CRM next to Command with like 50,000 users. So they have a lot of data of leads coming in and whether or not they're getting contacted. 50% of incoming leads don't get a single response, not one. So for agents to say the internet leads suck, how can they say it if they're not following up with? They're not even trying.
Yeah.
So your company gets to capitalize on that. So tell me about. Well, first, can I ask you about your sales team?
Sure.
For your company, so you have a team of awesome people that are getting the word out continuously about your amazing value. And so my question is, help me sell your product to our agents in a way that makes sense to newer agents and more seasoned agents. Like, what would your sales team say is the biggest objection? What's their different value props?
Yeah, well, I think if I can take a step back and just say like why I started the company in the first place is that I started the company really to solve a problem, right? Like I came up a little bit differently than most people. I came up with internet leads. So I started in the mortgage business in like 2005 with like lending tree leads. And so I came into the business like understanding this different animal, right? Like I got internet leads and converting internet leads. So I came up with that mentality. I wasn't like a traditional mortgage banker or a real estate agent that was building a database and feeding that database. I just came, for better, for worse, I came up on internet leads. And so, over the years I had transitioned and I got over to the real estate side and I was still working with internet leads at that time. But what started to happen is that, around 2007, 2008, it was like when you got an internet lead, it was pretty good because there weren't that many. Right. There were just, 5,000 leads 5 million leads. And at that time there was, 3, 4, 5 million home sales. So when you got an internet lead, it was pretty good. Right. And fast forward each year, there's 10 million leads, 20 million leads, 30 million leads, 50 million leads. And by like 2013, 2014, you really felt a massive shift. Right. So I was putting in the same amount of effort, but I wasn't getting the same results. I was spending more of my day trying to convert internet leads, chasing them more. And it's simply because of a supply versus like home sales per year, right?
Sure.
So now we're at somewhere around 200 million leads, 180 million leads a year, and we have 6 million home sales, right? And so what happened is around 2014, I just said, man, this isn't making sense. Right? This is really difficult. Like, leads should not be flowing directly from the internet right to an agent, because we know the 5-minute lead response time and the amount of follow-up that's required. And so I went back to my old days of being like an inside mortgage banker, and I said, leads should flow to an ISA first, who can qualify them, and then send me over those qualified leads, the ones that are motivated, and I can work with those particular prospects, and I'll have a much higher closing rate. And so I said, okay, if I'm having this problem, I bet my fellow agents are having the problem. So it started as just an idea on the back of a napkin that popped into my head. And then I talked to a couple of people about it, and that sounds like a really good idea, and fast forward, and, here we are in 2021, and we've got, 75 ISAs, and, this bet that like agents were all experiencing the same problem, right? The same concern, which is, how do I get to that lead in 5 minutes? And that leads take a lot of follow-up, right? And most agents don't have the bandwidth to be able to do that. So there's 3 main things. You've got to be able to call that lead within 5 minutes or less. You've got to be relentless about your follow-up, right? So we do 17 touches in 10 days, and you got to follow up with them for almost a year, right? Because the internet lead game it's a long-term game. Most internet leads don't close for 8 to 14 months. And so knowing that, like, nurturing these internet leads is the most important piece of it. That is the backbone and the foundation of what we do, right? Because I think most agents, we're very focused on the next few months. And in order to really build your pipeline over time with internet leads, you have to nurture those leads for an entire year. And so when we built the business, these are the 3 pillars. These are the 3 pillars: speed to contact, long-term lead follow-up, and nurturing for as long as it takes.
So let me ask you a question then. You have, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of leads you have coming into Conversion Monster. And you have 100 ISAs and 90 ISAs or something like that.
Yeah.
How are your ISAs responding in under 5 minutes, sometimes 2 minutes? How are they responding so quickly? Because you have a really cool system that allows them to do that. Can you explain it?
Sure. Yeah. We spent a lot more on software development than you would ever want to. It was, I think it started out as a $50,000 quote, and then add a 0 to that is where it probably currently is. And because you're just, software development, as you know, with command and everything, it's a never ending process. Right. And so, the foundation of our lead management system is that when a lead comes in, what happens is we built the technology so that it reverse rings the next available ISA, right? And so we have this system built up with the technology and the telephone system that allows us to have that super speed to contact that we're getting to those leads in under 5 minutes. A lot of times it's 2 minutes or 3 minutes, because we know that is like the key metric in lead conversion, right? Is get to them right away while they're still on the website, while they're still engaged, while they're still looking at real estate, because most people spend on average about 5.5 minutes on a site. So you want to catch them right when they're looking, right when they're engaged. And so we built that technology around that. As soon as that person's off, we're on to the next one. We're on to the next one. We're on to the next one. And that is our, it's one of those pillars, one of those foundations of like, we have to deliver on that 5-minute rule. And so we built technology around that.
A lead comes in, and then that lead's phone number will ring you guys, and as soon as the next available ISA picks it up, it instantly starts to call that person. Like it reverses. It
reverse rings. They're right there, and their information we built the lead management system, which is just like a stripped down version of a CRM that we built internally. It pops up with all the lead information right now.
That's super cool. Great. It's super fast. And every time a lead comes in and I look at my timeline on my CRM, like, you've either sent a text depending on what time of day it is, or you've made a phone call, which is pretty exciting. Yeah, I'm excited about it. Anyway, let's talk about Ro.
So I have to know the second part of that very long-winded last question around if we're talking to a newer agent that's ready to make an investment in their lead generation system and improvement, or a very seasoned agent, right? What would your sales team say is the biggest objection that they get? What's the biggest question they get from agents?
The biggest question is that they think that they can do it themselves, that this is their job, right? That lead, like this part of it is like what they're supposed to be doing. And to an extent they're right. But the thing with internet leads is it's become more, we moved away from conversion rate discussions to ROI discussions, right? And is it worth your time? Because you know that if you're going to get, just by supply and demand, if there's 180 million leads out there and there's only 6 million home sales every year, is that really the best utilization of your time as an agent? No, it's not, right? The best utilization of my time is not trying to chase, if you're getting 100 leads a month, it's not trying to chase all 100. It's having somebody filter through the looky-loos, the tire kickers, the ones that are a few years out, filter that down to the people that are qualified and really looking in the next 6 months. And if I can just focus on those 15 or 20 of those every month, I'm going to increase my closing rate and my conversion rates over time, because I'm not chasing 100 people a month, I'm changing 15 or 20, right? And so what we see is that the people that have the most success have good processes and systems after we hand off that converted lead as well. The people that don't think that, you guys are just handing me a closing, so this thing should close right now. This is like, we're just getting to the point that we know these people have raised their hand, they've got interest, they want to buy or sell.
Yes.
And after we hand that lead off to you, you still got some work to do to follow up with them and stay with them to get them to the finish line.
That's right. When they have if you get their hands raised, you find the interested people. And you said ideally within the next 6 months, they're looking to buy and or sell. That's where the agents get to work their magic. That's their favorite part. Yeah. It seems like, because that's where the game gets to start instead of just the monotonous, like, let's try it again.
We really want to talk to, cold call or talk to these leads and get rejection. We all want to talk to warm, fuzzy leads that are happy to hear from us, right? Which is, especially when we do the live transfer, right? They've already agreed to talk to an agent. You're like, great, now I get to be the rock star.
I love that. So, okay, can we go back to integration, Conversion Monster integration with Command? So logistically, walk me through. What do I expect? Where do I find it? Define the integration, exactly what that looks like.
I was like, Nick was just getting ready to jump in there. So we're going to be.
No, I'm waiting for you. You go ahead.
We're going to be live in the. We're going to be live in the App Store inside the marketplace.
The marketplace, yeah.
Yep, inside the marketplace. I'm hoping tomorrow. Fingers crossed. I'm hoping tomorrow, and it's going to be, like I said, we put the pressure on because we said we were coming on the show today.
Oh, stop it. You did not. Did you really? No, you did
it done. We've been waiting a long time for it to happen. So it's going to be ready for solo agents probably tomorrow or within the next 48 hours.
So awesome.
And then for teams and rainmakers, we're going to have like a sign up. So there's going to be one for solo agents. There's going to be a place for teams. And so teams will be waitlisted, but we should be about 45 days away. They're just getting some final tweaks fixed with rainmaker accounts and teams accounts inside Command. And then we'll be live with them. So what we're going to do is we're going to pre-register people so that they can get signed up and teams will be ready to go live.
Because then we first serve with that, like the people who register and they want to sign up, you'll get to them first. So if you're the 100th team to put your name on the list, you'll be the 100th person to get your account set up. So get in there as soon as it launches. That's pretty awesome.
That's
hey,
so cool.
So Ro, you answered some. We send out a very professional pre-interview Google form to our guests, and I liked a lot of your answers because it was pretty relatable. You were talking about your morning routine, so I like what you said. You wake up at 4 a.m. no matter what time you go to bed. You drink coffee and you read for an hour and a half, and you try to meditate. But sometimes the coffee starts buzzing. But then you also said that, and this is the part I can relate to, and a lot of people can relate to. You're at the gym at 6 if you slept at least 6 hours. If not, you read until your daughter wakes up, and then you get nothing accomplished until she goes to sleep.
Right.
Because that's so refreshing to hear, right? Yeah. Because that's the same thing that I go through with my kids.
Yeah.
So what's a morning look like on both sides of that,
Yeah. So if I actually get some sleep, which I haven't done and probably since my daughter was born 7 years ago. So
Right.
if I get 6 hours, I feel like a completely different person if I actually sleep that long. But if I do get that sleep, then I don't know. I just, for whatever reason, my clock just wakes me up at 4 a.m. So I get up and it's, I go down, I make my coffee and I sit down and the thing about coffee is I like going from like this sleepy mode to like instant, like, all right, I'm on.
Magic.
And then and it's quiet. And then inside of my head, I'm just like, all right, I'm up before the competition, I'm getting this done. I don't know who that competition is, but it's just inside my head.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm up and I'm getting things done and it's quiet, right? Like it's my quiet time before the chaos starts. And so I'll read for an hour and a half and then I'll get prepped for the gym. I'll go to the gym, I'll come back, I'll pick my daughter up and I'll drop her off to school. I'll come back. I'll try to, be tough and take, at the end of my shower, take a cold shower to like, to really like, yeah, I know that last
So
minute
good for
I've been
you.
trying to like to lengthen that out a little bit longer and longer to try to control my breathing.
Yeah.
Like
you
when
can do it.
Breathing water hits. Yeah. And then I get my day started. I'm not the plan your to-do list the night before and like get ready for the next day. By the time I'm done, I just stop when I stop. Right. And so I don't have the energy to sit there and like, all right, I'm going to plan out my whole next day tonight before I stop. I'm just not that disciplined or routine, but I do it in the morning. Then I plan, I plan out my day. If that doesn't happen, I don't get enough sleep, then my daughter comes down anytime around like 6 o'clock in the morning. Like she's a super early bird like me. Yeah. And then if I'm reading, it just doesn't matter. She is, hey, Papa.
My time.
Papa.
My time.
Time to go.
It's so cute.
Yeah.
Around books. Okay. The first book that you listed that you've read recently that's inspired you is you're reading Relentless right now. You're not all the way through it yet.
No.
Tim Grover, Michael Jordan's trainer / coach. Yeah.
Yep.
Or trainer. So I'm obsessed with Michael Jordan. He's a machine. Like his grit and obsessive determination is very machine-like to me.
Yeah.
My question is that a skill that can be developed? I'm not necessarily on Michael Jordan's level, but is all of these books and really kind of the way you're speaking in your homework. It's very driver based. It's very driven based, and so that relentless, is it a skill? Is it a skill that you can work on? What's your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes down to discipline versus motivation. Right? Like it's looking at, motivation. We can watch a motivational video. We can kind of get inspired for those 15, 20 minutes, watch something on YouTube, listen to a podcast and get us motivated in that moment. Right. It's like the phenomenal thing about, reading that book and listening to, them talk about these athletes like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and Dwayne Wade and that like how deep they dig, like their competitive drive, it all stems from discipline. A tremendous amount of discipline. That's nothing easy. And the takeaway is like, you've got to put in the work. Like they will outwork you, right? Like that's where it comes from. It's like, we're all kind of looking for the easy way or the shortcut or the conveniences. And we've never lived in a more convenient time, in the history of the world. Right. And it's like, you listen to these guys and it's putting in the work. You're digging deep, there's no shortcuts to that. And so I'm trying to get better about like not needing the motivation, because you're one of the other things that I believe that I've heard numerous times is never going to feel like it.
Mel Robbins.
Yeah,
yes.
Never going to feel like it. Right?
I hear her in my head saying that. Yes.
I don't feel like going like, oh, I got to go like work out in like for an hour and a half, or I don't feel like working a 15-hour day. I don't feel like it.
You're never going to feel like it.
Feel like it, and it's like, but what's amazing, like how I can relate that to the gym is like, I can just, and I think most people can relate to this. If you just get there, or if you get going in that moment, like sometimes I have my best workouts ever when I was the most tired. When I was like, there's no way I can do this. There's no way I can work out. I don't have the energy. And then the next thing you know, you find yourself having like some amazing workout because you push through it, right? And that just teaches yourself something about yourself, right? And the more that happens, the more you go, I just need to get going. I just need to do it, because if I just do it and I just start doing it, I'm not going to think about it, right? And to me, that's where that moment of like the discipline trumps motivation every single time.
Yeah, that's her around. You're never going to feel like it. That's Mel Robbins' book. That's her thing. She needed a tool, the 5-second rule, so she couldn't think about it. Because if she was allowing herself to think about it, your brain's going to squash it. Yeah,
because your brain is you're tired. You don't need today. Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, I like that you said that because I think, I know there are people that love to work out, right? Like I like to work out, but I mean, I'd rather not. But it also is that right. Well, I mean, you go and get ready to work out, and you do that first set, and then you get those endorphins going and that pump, and then, like you said, when you get started, then you're into it. Like as soon as I do that first set, then I'm like, all right, I'm into it.
Yeah, you're into it.
You have
that mental, like it's like getting yourself. It's like all that, like talking to yourself, right? To like get you to that point, and that's where every day I try to get better with that discipline. Just go. Don't even think about this is what you got to do, right? Like you go there, you're going to be fine. You're just
the same goes for business. Like let's just use real estate as an example. Like I hated calling expireds. I hated it. Right. And as soon as that dialer started dialing and the first person picked up and I had a conversation, no matter how well or terrible it went, then I was like, next one. It's
almost like exposure therapy. It's that you need if you were terrified of snakes, for an example.
Yeah.
And I would write down on a piece of paper, SNAKE. Okay, can you read this? And then we look at a picture on the internet. Can you look at that for 5 seconds? It's almost like we need that in our lead gen activities and going to the gym and all of that stuff that requires a self-push. Yep. It's almost like what it is, and we need it every day.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know that it does go away. Opinion. Go ahead, Nick.
Well, I was going to say, because earlier when before Ro came on, I said he was reading a book that was not fiction, but it reads like fiction, and that's The Devil in the White City, which I read, and it's an incredible book.
Tell me about it.
I read it a long time ago. I forget the name of the guy. It's about a serial killer, but what's his name, Ro?
It's like H.H. Holmes. Dr. Holmes.
So this guy built a hotel or an apartment building type thing, and so the guests would come in. This is a true story. The guests would come in, and the hotel was basically like something out of the movie Saw. Like it was like you could not escape. It was a true story. He was so sick and demented that every person that went in there, I mean, basically never came out alive because they were put into these. It's been a while since I read it, but H.H. Holmes, he's actually considered like the first serial killer, I think.
Yeah. Where in the world is this?
This is all taking place in Chicago, but at the same time, it's all happening with historical facts because it was around the time of the World's Fair, right? And so right. Yeah, so it's a fascinating story because a lot of these people, like I'm in Chicago, right? So learn about the architecture and these architects that are in the book, Daniel Burnham, and people that are responsible for the World Fair in 1893 and the city and everything that's happened in Chicago. There's two stories going on in the same book, right? So it's like it kind of flips back and forth between the historical significance of like Chicago, and that's where the real estate nerd in me comes out, right? Like learning about the buildings and the architecture and the development of the city, and then on the backdrop of this like serial killer story, it's just it's a great book.
Eric Larson's a best-selling author, but yeah, Dr. Henry H. Holmes. And he got away with it because, like you said, the World's Fair had so much commotion that people didn't even realize this was going on. Yeah. And he would, he would invite women mostly. He would lure them in with, promises or whatever it is into this building or this hotel type of place. And then he would put them through these torturous experiences. And it's written very much like a novel. So Eric Larson writes like that. His newest book, The Splendid and the Vile, a saga of Churchill family and the defiance during the Blitz. That's his newest book. And that, again, is written like a novel, but it's, historical fiction, but it's not like it's made up. It's written
Right.
As if it were fiction.
Yeah.
And that's Leonardo DiCaprio owns the rights to Devil in the
Oh,
White
I didn't
City.
know that. Okay.
Oh, that'd be
He was
cool.
supposed to, yeah. So that, I mean, he would be perfect. He's a freaking
So,
crazy
Ro, you're listening to Andy Frisella's podcast.
Yeah.
And you said, to sum it up, it's tough love. What's a tough love lesson that you've gotten out of it that's been impactful?
It's kind of an everyday message, you
Yeah.
know, which is like, you know, it's along the same lines as what we were saying with her about, like, you're never going to feel like it, right? Like no one's coming to save you, right? Like you got to do it. You got to put in the work, right? Like you got to get up every day, you got to put in the work, and there's no, for some people, maybe like the Instagram life and the social media life, it's portrayed as like these are all shortcuts to like success, but that truly, it just takes hard work, grit, determination, getting up every day and putting in the work, right? And he talks about how it took him 10 years to become this overnight success, right? And that there's no shortcut. And I kind of feel like we're on that same journey. You know, we're 6 years into Conversion Monster, and I still feel like it's day one, like we're a startup, right? Like it's a very strange thing to look out here and go, like when I say it to you, we've got 110 employees and it's like, it's amazing and it's great and we're growing. It doesn't feel like it. It feels like it's still day one. And we're just that, like, we're looking over our shoulder, right? And like we're working as hard as we did to keep making ourselves better, and that there's always some looming competitive threat behind us. And so I wake up with that every single day. Maybe that's why I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, because my brain just starts going like this.
It's waking you up.
It's just waking me up, and I can't go back. But that's his tough love message is like, I mean, I don't know if we can swear on this podcast, but that is.
Yeah, I mean, I said bullshit earlier, so go ahead.
Yeah,
I said bullshit, but I was quoting Gary.
So like, you know,
not really a curse.
Stop being a wuss. Like, get to work. Like, no one's coming for you. The tougher it is, you know, that's what's building character, right? Not the easy way.
Yeah, Ro, I just want to say, you mentioned, you know, Instagram and social media, and that, you know, that isn't the way to success. But I mean, I just want to say you haven't posted on Facebook since May 21st. So you must not be putting in the work if you're not documenting it. Because, I don't know what you've been up to the last 3 weeks.
That's right.
It looks like nothing to me, Ro.
Doing nothing.
134 likes. I hope those 134 likes are paying the bills, because I don't see anything else going on there.
That's right. Yeah,
that's true.
I'm not giving you my highlight. I'm not giving you guys my highlight reel.
Nope. You have to tell me what you had for breakfast.
So you are, so you're reading health books. Three now and recently. Are you on a particular health journey?
Well, for me, I've got heart disease in my family. And so my grandfather died of a heart attack. My dad had heart issues all of his life. And he passed away like 4 years ago from coronary heart disease. And so I went and got, this is probably going way off in a left field, but like I read this story about this lady who said that her husband, who was only like 45 years old, had went and got a physical and got like a perfect health check and was completely fine. And 6 weeks later, he died of a heart attack. And she started talking about this story of like, if he would have just got this $49 calcium scan, you know, at the hospital, that would have like let you know if you've got any calcium buildup in your arteries. That would have saved, you know, that might have saved his life. And instead he got a clean bill of health. And so I went and had that CT scan done, and the doctor's like, you've got a little bit of calcium in all 3 of your arteries. So it's just starting, right? So I'm on that path of
reversible and thank goodness that we have tools to see that now. But goodness,
to reverse that. And so I started reading a lot of books on like, you absolutely can do that if you subscribe to a plant-based diet. And so we started getting.
You're a vegetarian?
Yeah, I mean, I went back to the doctor after a year after we did all these things, and they wanted my cholesterol ridiculously low. Like your total cholesterol should be, again, probably, you know, getting off topic here, but like for average American, like to be good is like 150. I was like at 130, and he wanted me at like 90.
Wow.
Like these are by like the European standards, right? Like for cholesterol. And so I went all in, and I came down to almost like a 90 total cholesterol. And he said, okay, you could start to introduce maybe once a week, right? Like if you want something extremely healthy, like meat based, like that's okay. And we'll check again in like 6 months. So I just was like, I'm going all in, man. I'm not going to suffer the same fate, or I'm going to do everything I can to try and not suffer the same fate.
Good for you. And not off in left field at all. That's my favorite part.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel like I know you better. Thank you.
Have you, Ro, it's not off in left field at all. Have you been listening to this conversation?
All we are is left field.
That you're here with us.
We're like,
I have done that more than once.
And right.
Conversion monster all the way down to plant-based diets.
Yeah. So, Ro, let's talk about. I want to talk about your sales team while we have a few more minutes, because you know, Conversion Monster is growing by leaps and bounds. You're launching with Command. You're also launching with a Remax integration. So you're going to just like quadruple. I don't think there's a word for that. Explode all at once, right? I mean, not all at once, but you've been building to this. And then, you know, like you said, it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. You're working to this point, and then it's just going to boom, right? One day, because of the work you put in. So you have a sales team. Are you personally still in production, or are you just the rainmaker and then you have your team? How does it look like? How do you do both?
Yeah, I mean, it's a hell of a balance, like trying to run that sales team and still go on like showings, right? And then still run Conversion Monster. So I pretty much have started to really pull out of production with the Chicago team, and I've been handing most of the business off. There's still on occasion, I'm still doing a listing appointment, or I'm still going through a final walkthrough, you know, because of a day and time of it. But for the most part, I started to hand up all the business, give it to the team, and let them run with it. You know, and then with the Elevate team here, with the expansion team, my dream is also that I wanted to move to California. So we're getting a place. We're moving to Redondo Beach in South Bay. Yeah.
Awesome.
Dude, I love it.
We're moving to Redondo Beach in the South Bay, and we're going to open up a Conversion Monster office out there and an expansion office for Elevate. And so I'm just going to be going. My dream had always been LA, Chicago, New York, LA, Chicago, New York. And now it's kind of like in a weird, that visualization way, it's all sort of coming to fruition. And so we got a place 2.5 blocks from the beach. And
so cool.
You know, and like, dude, I'm out of the cold.
Wait a minute. I got a lake house across the street from the water. We're like twins.
Sorry, Nick, you're beat. You're beat. You're beat.
What Redondo
That's
Beach?
So awesome. Congratulations.
Wait, are you saying Redondo Beach is cooler than Caseville, Michigan?
I would never say that. Never say that.
Bro, I'm coming to visit.
You are.
You let
we'll
me know.
Celebrate you.
Up in Malibu.
When you move in, I'll meet you there.
Yeah. It's great,
that's awesome. Dude. I'm super proud of you for that. That's pretty sweet. You know,
I've been in the cold for 40 something years, and I'm just.
I hear you.
This last winter broke me, and I said, I'm more than happy to travel back and forth and see all the teams and do that, as long as when I get back to California, I can shed my parka and put my shorts and my flip flops back on.
Love it.
So your team. So you are still somewhat in production. Then you still are working with buyers and sellers.
Not buyers so much, but yeah, maybe on the listing side. I'm still having conversations for listings. I haven't been able to fully give that off or fully hand that off yet. So I'll still have those conversations, and I'll still.
Plus, that's that aspect of the business, the listings. There's definitely more leverage there. Like you're not schlepping around showing 50 houses, right? You're listing a property, and while that's not any easier, you're able to probably control your time a lot more because of that.
Yeah.
Another positive is in the real estate business, there's nothing more dollar productive than a talented rainmaker going and taking a listing. So if that's a stress and you're trying to give that up, at least you're doing the most dollar productive thing.
And we're running, and I want to keep one foot in the business, because, you know, we work with internet leads. The team works with internet leads. We use Conversion Monster to convert those leads and send them over. And I feel like that's what gives us a competitive edge, is because I always put my agent hat on. I'm not an outsider trying to run a business selling a product or a service to agents. I try to create a solution that would work for me, that would also work for agents. And every day, as the business is changing, as the business is moving in whichever way direction it's going, I feel it because we're in it every single day. And so when those winds of change happen, we can adjust Conversion Monster to adapt to that, right? And I feel like if I stopped doing that, I would become very disconnected from the business.
Hey,
I don't want to become disconnected from the agent business.
When your ISAs are making their follow-ups, do you say to them, you act like every lead that comes in here is one of my leads? Right? Because, honestly,
not recommended.
Well, no, not mine, yours. Not my leads, Rose leads. Well, I think it says a lot. Like Rose says, I'm not just a client, I'm also the president, because he's using, or he's not just the president, he's also a client. I forget how it goes.
You become the customer instead of your customer surveys and your questions to how are we doing? Agents, how are we doing?
It comes over to me. And if I see that the notes aren't complete and it's not done properly, like I will push that right back onto the team and say, what happened here? Like I'm the owner of the company and you're sending me this. There's an error here, or like you didn't explain this part of it. And it's like, that just helps us stay ahead of the curve. I'm like, if you're doing that to me and I'm the owner of the company, what's happening?
I love when our agents move, when they buy or sell their own personal home. It's a great reminder of just honestly what an emotional experience it is.
I'm the worst client. I'm the worst buyer there is and seller.
Why do I believe? I sadly believe you.
The worst patient. My dad was a doctor. Doctor's the worst.
My mother represented me on the purchase of my first home, and even though I was licensed, but I needed that third party, right? She's like, you are not acting like a professional real estate agent. When they won't fix the thing I want them to fix.
But I need it. I'm taking personal offense to it.
Yeah. I need it, Mom.
I need it.
You are not acting professional.
You guys are fun. I like hanging out with y'all. Thank you.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thanks for letting me be here.
Thanks, Jesse. All right. Well, listen, this has been super fun. Listen, Conversion Monster is, well, let me back up. Jason Abrams said Keller Williams is really the only real estate company he can think of with like everyone at the top as a licensed real estate agent. And then you got Malik, the CEO of Conversion Monster, and he's a licensed real estate agent with a sales team. So he's doing everything that he is talking about. And I can say honestly that Conversion Monster is great. It works. Oh, I just want to say that I did have a conversation with somebody about, they were like, oh, it's kind of expensive. And I said to this person, let me see if I can find the conversation. I said, okay, let me put it in perspective. Because what's the pricing, bro? Can we talk about that for a second?
Yeah, it's $295 a month for the platform management cost, and then it's $5 a lead.
Okay, so $5 a lead, right? And that $5 is whether or not they work that lead once and they qualify it, or they work it for 12 months, right? So I said to the person in text, I said, let me put it in perspective. If you spent $100 a month and generated 50 leads, that's through command with Facebook.
Yeah.
And at $5 a lead, that's $250 for the lead follow-up, $100 for the ad spend, and then $295 for the platform cost. If they qualified one of them and that led to a closing, $250 for the follow-up plus $295 equals $545. If you add the $100, and that's
so great.
$645. I don't know what your average commission is, but in Michigan, mine is $7,500. If that happened once a month for a year, that would be an average of $90,000. That only cost me $6,500. That's a 92% return on investment.
That's ridiculous.
You have to think like a business owner, because if someone said to me, if you spend $6,200 and you'll make $90,000, I'll do it all day long. Yeah. But if you look at it from a perspective of $295 plus $5 a lead, that's going to sound expensive in your mind. If you look at it over the course of a 12-year time frame, how much money you could make based on the conversion rate with Facebook and what your average commission is, then it doesn't seem like that much. 92% return on investment is huge.
Yeah, and that's the discussion that we've been talking about more and more, right? Is because would you rather people look at it, oh, this is an expense, or we don't have the budget for it. And my position is always like, think of it, this is an investment into your business. Where else are you going to get ROI numbers like that? You're going to put it in the stock market and get 8% unless you're in AMC or Dogecoin? Like,
unless you bought GameStop like 6 months
unless you're like GME. But outside of that, where are you going to get like 100%, 200%, 300% return on your investment, right? And so the mindset has to shift a little bit from, oh, this is an expense and I don't have the budget for it, to I'm making this investment for this ROI. The problem is that if you're short-sighted and you're just looking at like 2 or 3 months and there's no big return, that's when agents tend to give up after 3 or 4 months. And they say, it's not working. There's just like, I don't see enough return. And I'm like, this is the long game.
Yeah,
we are prospecting for the long game. This is for agents that want to be in the business, that want to build a pipeline for the long term. And if you're giving up after 3 or 4 months, you haven't even begun to scratch the surface. You're stopping 3 feet from gold, like that book said, right? Like you got to get to that 6, 8, 9 month mark, because that's where you're going to start seeing the biggest return from those leads that first registered, and now they're starting to get ready to pop and start to go.
You want to know what else is awesome? If the lead tells a Conversion Monster ISA that they're further than 6 months out, Conversion Monster won't even give them to you. They will just continue to nurture them until they're less than 6 months out. They don't put anyone in front of you who isn't 6 months out or less from buying a home. Otherwise, that's another thing. A lot of the people in your database are probably 6, 8, 12 months out. Why? Let someone else deal with that, and you focus on the right now. That's the beauty. Anyway, I think it's a great. Clearly, I do. Anyway, thanks, Ro, for being here. It's been super fun. We go off in left field. That's kind of like the tagline. Commander, we go off in left field a lot. Yeah. We appreciate you being here. We're excited about the launch. It's only been 18 months in the making. What's another 3 or 4 months, days?
No, I'm going to check every hour.
I joke around with Keller Williams when they say they're going to launch something. They're like, could you imagine if Netflix was like, hey, that new show is coming out sometime in around this weekish month. But KW, they just want to make sure it's ready, and
we're at the finish line. It's just like final email. And it really did light my heart. Someone's asked when I told them I was going on Nick Baldwin's show. It's like all of a sudden we're like, okay, we're going to be ready.
You're so ridiculous. All right. Everyone have an amazing Wednesday.
Thank you, guys.
You too, guys. Thanks.
Bye.